Don't let it hurt more yet. Good evening and welcome to Martensville. It's the Curling Stadium Martensville Major International Curling event. My name is Jason Chang, bringing you the action from the ice to your device. It's draw number one, the opening draw, and our feature game, Steve Laycock against John Epping. We joined the match in progress. We're in the second end. Team Epping started with the hammer, had a chance to draw the button for a single point, but just missed. Steve Laycock and his team, they score one. Team Epping playing the Bluestones, they have last rock here in the second. Well, it's still the summer, but it is the start of the curling season for these teams. Early start, of course, in September. A few events have already taken place. Last week, Curling Stadium was in Leduc, Alberta. This week, here in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Well, both these teams have a new look after the last quadrennial. Set things up for you. John Epping, he's the skip. Matt Kemp, the third. Pat Jansen throwing second stones, and Scott Chadwick throwing the lead stones. Team Epping playing out of Toronto, Ontario, the Least Side Curling Club. And Team Laycock, we'll call them the home team from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Steve Laycock, he's your stip. Sean Meacham, Chris Heichert, and their lead is Braden Stewart. Perfectly. You probably got a force on. Steve Laycock here, third end without last stone. Looking for the hidden roll. Pretty close to a perfect roll. Not quite. Really good attempt there. If he had rolled behind that corner guard, John Epping was probably forced to drop the 4-foot for his single, but instead, Team Epping has a chance to blank in this third end. John Epping chucks it down, catches a piece, rolls out, and it's another blank end. So after 3 ends of play, Epping, not on the board yet. Steve Laycock, 1. Welcome back to Martensville Curling Stadium. Martensville, this curling tour event, early season here in Saskatchewan. We've got Steve Laycock and John Epping. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang, bringing you all the action from the ice to your device. Opening draw of the Curling Stadium Martensville Major. We'll be bringing you every single draw, starting this draw up until the championship draw. That's Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Saskatchewan time, 5 Eastern. Steve Laycock 1, John Epping 0. Steve Laycock stole one in the first end. 2 blank ends followed in the second and the third. That's why John Epping still got last stone advantage here in the fourth end. They're playing blue stones. These are 8 end games here on the curling tour. I think Team Laycock was hoping that rock would stop as a guard. Team Epping ignoring that play in the middle, playing up another corner guard. Electing to play the same side corners. It's a very common play now here with the 5 rock free guard zone rule, rather than the opposite side corner guards. So opportunity for Team Laycock to guard the situation in the house. They've got one in the top 12, one in the 4-foot. Pat Jansen being asked to move some of the stones around. See if they can get the stone off the 4-foot. Runs it back, gets 2 to go. They would have liked to roll the shooter away rather than leaving it as a center guard. That center guard does help Team Laycock. They can just go around everything again. Of course, this is a new quadrennial, different lineups. Pretty much all the teams. Steve Laycock, he's got Sean Meacham, Chris Hiker, Braden Stewart. Braden Stewart out of action. That's why you see them playing with 3. They're out of Saskatchewan. We'll call them the home team here in this matchup. Team Epping. Isler, Nat Cam, Pat Jansen throwing second stones, and their lead is Scott Chadwick. Team Epping opened the season last week in Leduc, this Curling Stadium Alberta event. This week we're in Martensville, and Curling Stadium developing this great technology that allows us to broadcast every single sheet to YouTube, and of course also to send these feeds out to other sources, including CBC Gem. They're taking one game every single draw. Curl Sask also taking a game onto their feed as well. Does still take a lot of hard work. There's a big team behind the scenes. Jerry Gertz, James Gordon, Rory McCusker, making it all happen, helping us bring you the action from the ice to your device. Curling Stadium is where the battle rages on. We saw a deep draw by Team Laycock. That allowed Team Epping to go into the top of the button area. This really is the first end where you've seen Team Laycock maybe chasing Team Epping a little bit. First three ends, you've seen John Epping try to get out of trouble, blanking ends that didn't set up well for them. Tons of curl in the ice. That rock walked over a good 4.5 feet. Taking up a lot of real estate, even though it's not shot stone. Team Laycock doesn't have hammer. They don't really need to be shot stone. Your job as the non-hammer team is to minimize the scoring that the hammer team has, and that's what we call forcing the opponent to take 1 point when they have the last stone. And the stats man, Jerry Gertz, will tell you that force efficiency stat is a very good predictor of team success and how highly a team might be ranked in the world rankings. Team Epping thought this over a little bit, where to place this stone. Matt Cam's been asked to throw one in front of the red stone. Jiggles it a little bit. The difficulty here for Team Epping is the button area, the 4-foot area, is starting to get very congested. So he's got to have to find a way to maneuver those rocks, rearrange the house, try to give himself a little bit of room to score his second point. He has shot stone. That's the stone that's behind the red stone that's very prominent. Playing the run back, the corner run in, sticks those red stones. Red stones now Team Laycock sitting shot stone, I think second shot as well, behind that center guard, and Team Epping will have to make a play on this. I think a straight run back can definitely make the run double. He's got a great guy throwing it. Matt Cam. He's got all the skills. Just a bit on the high side. Runs it into his own. Steve Laycock still sitting two in a really good spot right now as they head into skip stones. Seems like Team Epping has just not quite had the line right in this game. Just a little bit on the high side, a little bit on the low side. Team Laycock still talking this one over. There are a couple of options. I think the safest option is to make a play on the blue stone and set three in the rings. The downside of that option is you're grouping all the red stones. John Epping will probably blast and could get out of this end with another blank. The more aggressive call is to play up a guard. That's probably your best chance to steal. But it could give Team Epping an opportunity to score two if you don't put up a good guard. Well, you heard at the end of that conversation, Steve was saying he didn't even mind hitting and just rolling out even, just to make sure. That is what happened. Again, a little bit more of the conservative call here. He is up 1-0, so doesn't need to get aggressive, but we are playing John Epping, always very dangerous with the hammer. Now, because you did roll away, you've left those two red stones out in front, and John can make a hit, maybe even roll a hair behind the corner, but he gets to the outside of it, doesn't even make the double. Again, Team Epping just struggling a little bit with the line today. Not sure if they're just not getting the broom in the right spot or just some early season rust. really good opportunity here to put a lot of pressure on Team Epping. You throw up a good guard, it'll be very tough for Team Epping to score. And you've also got your second red stone biting on the side of the 12-foot. And so if you put up a good guard, maybe even bite the 12, John Epping can't even make a double and score. So really important shot for Steve Laycock, his last stone of the fourth end. Well, it does guard it really well, but I think because it came just a hair into the 8-foot, John can make a nose or just slightly off nose double and score his 1 point. So maybe that little bit too deep, maybe a foot and a half too deep could let Team Epping off the hook here, but you've at least got the force. You've still got a chance to steal for Steve Laycock. John's got to make a really nice shot here to score his 1. Final stone, fourth end. Here we go, Team Epping trailing 1-0. This rock over curling. You can see Pat Jansen, he was trying to hold the line. In fact, it's going to roll right out, and Team Epping, they're going to give up a steal of 2 here in the fourth end, and Steve Laycock up 3-0 halfway through this match. Welcome back to Curling Stadium, Martensville. We just saw the fourth end, Steve Laycock stealing 2, so they are now up 3-0. They've stolen all their points, 1 in the first, a couple of blanks, 2 more in the fourth. John Epping with the last stone. They started with last rock, they've still got it. They're playing the blue stones. They need to get some offense going now, and that's why the corner guard goes up. Steve Laycock has mostly controlled this game so far. They've been definitely the more precise team. They've had Team Epping chasing most of this game. You see a great crowd behind the glass in Martensville. It's great to see the local curlers and fans coming out. It's been a couple of tough years with the pandemic and curling, trying to figure it all out, different protocols, but hopefully a much more normal season developing in 2022, 2023. The last end, Team Epping decided to play the double corner guards on the same side. They've changed tacks in the 5th end. Scott Chadwick being asked to come around and freeze on top of the redstone. Nicely done. See Team Laycock try to put one right on top as well. Mentioned earlier there were 10 teams in the men's field. Just give you the quick rundown. Michael Brunner from Switzerland, John Epping, of course, from Toronto Leaside Curling Club here in Toronto, Ontario. Colton Flash out of Saskatchewan, Cody Hartung also from Saskatchewan. Kyler Kleibrink, they're out of Calgary, Alberta. Steve Laycock on our featured sheet today. Mike McEwen, of course, a long-time Manitoba skip, but he's now playing out of Ontario this season with Ryan Fry, Jonathan Buke, and Brent Lang. Dallin Myers out of Saskatchewan. The team skip Yannick Schwaller, but the fourth stone thrower Benoit Schwartz out of Switzerland, and Riku Yanagasawa. You may not recognize his name, but you'll probably recognize his third out of Japan. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. Yama. Very active on Twitter. He covers a lot of the Japanese games with his chicken microphone. A lot of stones in play this end. Steve Laycock sitting, shot stone, the red stone that's near the top of the button. Trying to guard this situation. Really well played. I think Team Epping now needs to move some granites. Rearrange some of the furniture. Definitely those guards out in front not really helping him. Pat Jansen being asked to run this red one. I think they want to run the red one into the third shot stone that's red, make the double, and then keep the guards out in front. He picks off the one on the button, and now Team Epping does sit one. I do think Team Epping was trying to pick off the third shot stone rather than the shot stone, because I don't think they wanted to leave the center guard up. Probably wanted to roll it as a corner guard, and you would have done that if you picked off the third shot stone. But they do have shot stone now. So Steve Laycock will have to do something about the situation. You see the nice movement in the ice. They tried to play a quiet hit or a quiet tap back. Didn't quite get enough of it. They've actually pushed the Epping stone behind the guards. It's actually now more covered. They're trying to come through that port and sit buried behind the corner guard. They're waiting for it to curl through that port. Really well played. Well, it looks like Team Epping maybe have something going here this end. They've been chasing most of this game. Down 3-0. All 3 points off of steals. Now they have 2 rocks in the house. Shot stone, I think second shot stone as well.
What are you thinking? That's pretty thin, isn't it? Yeah.
I can see a half an inch of it. Yeah, that was my initial thought, but yeah. Sure. Yeah.
If the guard's not the end of the world, then we have to shot the next one.
Kind of same weight, eh?
Team Laycock discussed that situation quite a bit on that last stone, trying to play quiet weight around that corner guard, chip the blue, and then roll towards the center. Didn't quite catch enough of it. I think they maybe had just a hair too much weight. Didn't get enough finish. Rolled it too far, and now Team Epping playing the out-turn draw, trying to go around everything. Back of the 4 to be shot stone. The Laycock stone, second shot, it's only top 8, so if you go back 4, you will be 1 and 2. Comes up a little bit short, corner free, frozen onto the top. Red stone. Still a difficult situation for Team Laycock. John Epping's got a good end set up here. Lots of room to score a second point right now. The 4-foot is all you need to hit. It's not easy hitting the 4-foot again. There is a bit of congestion. Team Laycock taking their time on this shot as well. Not a lot of great options for Steve, I think. I feel like they're probably looking for a way to just force John now into a single point, because it's pretty difficult to get in there for shot stone. This port might be possible. Maybe you can get it just into the top of the button area, a bit buried and be shot, but even if you come up a little bit short, block off that port, you are reducing the scoring area if you can get it into the top 8 or top 4 area. Well, Steve's rock lands as a center guard. It doesn't really do a whole lot. John's looking at going around the corner guard. You can play the same shot again as Matt Cam did. Try to go to the back of the 4, out-turn around everything. I'm sure John is thinking about, how do we get 3 points out of this? What's the best thing to do to get 3? Because it definitely is on. You've got one fairly buried. You can get another one buried in a good spot. You can put a lot of pressure on Team Laycock. Really the first end this match where Team Epping has put pressure on Team Laycock. Now, Team Epping, they're going to have a conference call now. I really like going with the same shot that they just tried to play on Matt Cam's second stone, is try to go around everything, sit in the back of the 4. I think you can get pretty much completely buried back there and still be second shot. Well, they've clicked the end button on their conference call, and John has made up his mind. I think he is going to go to the back of the 4. I think they were indicating that even if you ended up short, it protects that situation even more. It's not terrible. But this is the key shot. If you're going to try to score 3, you make this one and you've got a good chance. They end up on the top of the 12. That might have been what they were calling. They've actually lined up the blue-blue-red pretty nicely, so maybe this was another way to score 3 points, is to line this up such that you can remove that second shot stone red on your last stone. That's what Steve Laycock now is worried about. Give you a quick update on some of the other games. Mike McEwen leading 4-0 over Cody Hartung. They're playing the 5th end as well. Eunji Kim from Korea, Nancy Martin from Saskatchewan. They're deadlocked at 2. Team Kim with last stone in the 5th. And also a tight game next door. Clancy Grandy out of BC. Ashley Howard out of Regina, Saskatchewan. 3-3. Team Howard with last stone in the 5th end. Well, I think Steve Laycock is worried about the situation, how the blue-blue lines up onto the red. I think they're a little bit worried they might give up 3 if John tries to take that on. The 2 is not that tough if you leave it there, so I think they're just trying to protect giving up 3 here. Last stone of the 5th end for Steve Laycock. He's up 3-0, doesn't have the hammer. Playing 1 man short tonight. Playing in a brand new spot on the ice, way out into the wings. Well, Team Epping can see that blue-blue combination. The question really is, can you score 3 out of this? You can definitely score 2 fairly easily. The question is, will that blue stone that you're raising in, the first blue stone, spin into the side of the 8-foot and out count the other red stone that's in the back of the 8. Just biting the back of the 8-foot in that 4 o'clock position. We'll see. Final stone. Team Epping. Blue onto blue. The red one's gonna go. Will you get a little bit of spin? It looks pretty close. 2 for sure. We'll wait for them to put up the score, but it looked pretty close. Epping's got at least 2, maybe 3. After the 5th end, we'll give you an update as we go into the next end. Team Laycock will have the hammer starting the 6th. I don't think that Epping stone that raised in did spin enough to score 3, so I think it is 3-2, Steve Laycock leading. Center card being called a little bit off kilter, a little off center guard. If you're just joining us, we are in Martensville, Saskatchewan. It's the Curling Stadium, Martensville. Brought to you by Curling Zone. We are streaming all 4 games on YouTube. You can find the links if you go to Curling Zone, and of course, we're also on CBC Sports online. Curl Sask also carrying a game as well, but our feature game is Team Epping against Team Laycock. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang. Bring you all the action from the ice to your device. Expect a lot more offense as this game heads to the final few ends. 6th end now. Team Epping without last rock. They finally gave away last stone advantage. Scott Chadwick, the new lead for Team Epping. You would remember Scott Chadwick playing with Team Scott McDonald a couple years ago at the Briar, winning Ontario. In fact, that team skipped by Scott McDonald beat John Epping in the final en route to their very first Briar. Well, Matt Cam finally doing his job as the Vice puts up the 2. And that makes it official. 3-2 is the score. Team Laycock leading Team Epping. 6th end. Team Laycock now has last stone. They're throwing the Reds. Being down by 1, you'll expect Team Epping, they're going to put a lot of rocks in play. They've got an off-center guard. They've got 1 sandwich between 2 red stones in the house. They're going to put 1 right on top as well. And then after that, I think you'll see Team Laycock start to try to open things up. They do have a 3-2 lead. They don't need to get too aggressive. They can just make sure they can have a chance to score near the end, or maybe even blank the next couple of ends and take hammer coming home. Pat Jansen, the second for Team Epping. He's played with John Epping for quite a few years. Trying to stop this in the top of the rings, but it slips a little bit too deep. Team Laycock will be quite happy to see that. But the danger stone now is that lonely single guard, the off-center guard, Steve Laycock. They're just going to peel this one out. Probably just roll right out of there. No need for them to take on any risk. They have a red stone as well in the back of the rings, so they might even get a soft deuce if you get a miss from Team Epping. Soft deuce meaning not taking any risk to get the 2 points because you got one already in the rings that John will probably ignore for quite a while. John being down by one in the sixth then, that's a very powerful position for the team leading with hammer. Up by one, in theory you've got 2 hammers to 1. You've got hammer in sixth if you score here, hammer in 8 again. So really it's Team Epping who has to force the issue, and that's why they're going to ignore the red stone and put up another guard.
Just try to find fine. What turn do you like it back?
Another peel attempted. I think Steve was saying if you happen to hit it a little bit full and catch that rock in the house, catch the blue rocks in the house, you might get a couple of them out of there, but the main job here is to just peel those guards. It is rinse and repeat for Team Epping. Matt Cam now trying to replace that guard. At some point, John's going to have to make a decision. He's either going to have to make a decision to try to force Steve Laycock to take one, go down by 2 and take hammer into 7, or play a more aggressive shot to try to steal. Right now, he's just going to play another guard. You'll probably see Steve Laycock peeling this one off as well. Steve's having a look at going into the house now. I think he's sensing that if he just peels, he will get forced. So if you're going to get forced, why not try to go into the house? Maybe you'll get 2 out of it. The danger, of course, is you don't position it well, and you could risk giving up a steal. So Sean Meacham down there having a discussion. I think Sean has convinced his skipper the right call is the peel, and I would agree in this situation. One more peel for sure. Maybe you go in on Steve's first rock. appeal is made. I think it's another guard for John Epping, and then Steve will have another think about going in or whether another appeal is the right call. Steve Laycock back out of Saskatchewan. He's played a couple of seasons in BC with Jim Cotter. Of course, he is a long-time skip from Saskatchewan, played with Kirk Myers, Matt Dunstone, and Dallin Myers for a few seasons as well. They are the lowest ranked team coming into this tournament, ranked number 82, according to the World Team Rankings. Steve probably bringing in the lion's share of the points on this team, but for those of you who follow Saskatchewan curling or are from Saskatchewan, you'll know that Sean Meacham, Chris Heichert, Braden Stewart, they've been around for a while. They're a really good team out of Saskatchewan. Of course, hard to break out of a strong province like Saskatchewan. We've got Steve Laycock, we've got Kirk Myers, now Matt Dunstone. Colton Flash as well. I'm going to fact check myself. They aren't the lowest ranked team in the field. It is the Japanese team, Team Yanagasawa, is lower ranked, number 98. But again, with the mix-ups after the quadrennial, after the Olympic Games, all the teams changing their lineups, those rankings are really just a reflection of the individual performances on the various teams that those players used to be part of. And really, this is the early season, the first chance to see if these new lineups are gelling. And of course, earning points as a unit. Of course, these rankings and points are really important to qualify for some of the major tournaments, the invitational tournaments, such as the Grand Slams. So you're trying to make sure you get into those top 20, top 16 teams so that you get invitations to the slams where a lot of the big money is. Well, as we thought, Team Laycock decides to now go in. They thought if you peel one more time, John could put a lot of pressure on you. Now they do sit shot stone. They've essentially taken the back two blue stones out of play. John does have a chance here to follow the same path down. Maybe just corner freeze, maybe a small freeze tap on that red stone. I think John can get shot stone still. All right, John Epping, his last of the sixth end. Trying to corner freeze, maybe a little freeze tap. Not bad. I think John is shot stone. Question is, can you play quiet wait and tap it back to score one, maybe score two? I think that's the call. Well, Steve was all the way down to the other end of the ice, maybe having second thoughts. It's a very precise shot here. You do have to get around that center guard. Play the right way to get enough finish to make that tap back. So having a little bit of another discussion with his third just to make sure you've got the right line. They've called the right weight, or at least they're on the same page. Really important shot. You get two here and you're a heavy favorite to win the game. Even getting one, you're in a pretty good position. So final stone 6 then. Steve Laycock, he is facing one, up by one. Looking for a quiet tap. Opportunity for two if he can tap this Epping stone into the back of the forefoot. John Meacham now coming out, trying to get the finish. Taps it back. Does he move it far enough? I don't think so. It is. Team Epping with a single point. Just didn't have enough weight on that one, so Team Epping ties it up after 6. It's 3-3 as we go to the 7th end. Welcome back to Curling Stadium, Martensville. This game starting to heat up and get a little bit tighter after Team Epping takes 2 in the 5th, then steals 1 in the 6th. It's all tied up at 3. Thanks, John, putting up the score for us, doing the work of the vice as well. High center guard being played. That's a pretty good indication that John's going to play double center guard. Put one high, put one tight. That's the way to try to generate a force because he doesn't want to blank end here. John Epping would like to force Steve Laycock into one. Maybe even try to get a steal. Really nice draw there by Chris Heikert, right behind the center. Top of the 8-foot, maybe just nibbling the 4-foot. That's a really good position. You don't want that rock too deep. You go into the top of the 4 and top of the button. John Epping comes down right on top, and you've really cut down the scoring area. You put this in the top 8. Even if John comes on top, he's only full 8-foot, so there it is. The double center guards go up. Of course, you can't peel those yet. 5 rock free guard zone. Both teams have a chance to put up 2 guards before hits can be played. Steve Laycock didn't want to give up a steal of one in the last end. Obviously wanted to take one, but he's still in a good position. He's still tied. He's still got last rock, so he's in control. He's got the first stones in the rings, top of the 8-foot. Now another one on the side of the 12. So for Steve Laycock, he's trying to score multiples or get a blank. He blanks, he takes hammer into last end, tied up. In a really good spot there. You can get 2 out of this. You know John's going to be aggressive. You're probably going to have some chances to put rocks in play that John's going to ignore. You can see Steve went to the side of the rings. John just ignores it because he's trying to generate the force, make sure you don't get a blank. Goes around everything. And now Steve can peel. You're going to see this bit of a cat and mouse game where the guards are going to go back up. The peels are going to be played. Really important now for the thrower throwing those guards to line those rocks up in a line. If you put a guard that's off center, that's when it gives Steve Laycock opportunity to make a double peel and really open it up and get out of this end. Team Epping's got a nice situation here. Those 3 rocks right now, pretty close to a straight line. He's going to put another guard up, halfway to high. Keep some separation. Again, right on that center line. Try to line it up just like the first 3. Well, that rock over curled just a hair, maybe 4 inches over curled, and now Team Laycock, they're gonna have a chance to make a run at this double peel. You might even get all 4 rocks moving if you hit it right. Sean Meacham will bring a little bit of heat here. Well, that didn't work out too well. He runs it into his own stone in the side of the 12. And the blue guard rolls right into the middle, right in line. And now Epping sitting shot in second. Back of the 4 on the button. In the complexion of this game, the momentum has really swung. The first half of the game, the first 4 ends, all Team Laycock putting all sorts of pressure on John Epping. The last couple of ends, John Epping has turned up the dial just a little bit. And now it's Steve Laycock's team under a little bit of pressure. That's a much better guard. Almost lined up, and Steve Laycock, they're in a bit of hurt now. I think you almost have to make an attempt at that tight guard. Try to move that rock out of the way, because right now those 2 Epping stones, back 4, and the button, they're very well protected. You could try the straight back run, but that is a little dangerous. You might not get much action if you hit it just off. Meacham being asked to play a soft weight hit on that tight center guard. Ideally, you remove the guard and roll your shooter into the side of the 12. And another kicker in there. that might end up counting for you. That's a nice shot, well executed.
I think so. Yeah.
It was well executed, but maybe needed a bit more weight because they wanted to move that blue stone a little bit more. Matt Cam being asked to replace the guard, I think. The ice surface really, really good looking right now. There's a lot of finish on the rocks. Fairly consistent finish as well. Pretty much puts it back in the same spot. Nice shot, Matt Cam. Well, Team Laycock running the front now. They like to get some action in the rocks behind, try to move a few rocks here, open it up, because the scoring area really doesn't exist for Steve Laycock right now. He can't actually get to the pin. Drives it into the rock on the top of the 12-foot. That redstone disappears. The guard disappears. Shooter rolls away as well. It's actually not a bad result to get rid of that redstone. There is a draw path to the button. I'm not sure you can catch enough of the pin to score, but you can certainly get to second stone if Steve Laycock really needs to salvage a situation here. Another guard being called for Team Epping. This is John's first skip stone. He doesn't have last stone, but he's clawed his way back to tie this game at 3 after 6 ends. Well played by John Epping. Just a quick look across the other sheets. Lindsay Gim leading Nancy Martin 3-2. Clancy Grandy leading Ashley Howard 4-3. Mike McEwen leading Cody Hartung 4-2. And, of course, the feature game, Steve Laycock, John Epping. We're deadlocked at 3 after 6. Really, one errant peel has made this situation really difficult for Team Laycock. With those 2 Epping stones in the back of the floor, on the button. That stone that's in the button area, that was a guard that got run into the side of a redstone in the house, and it spilled onto the button. Well, Well, based on where they've put the broom, I think they're going to play a draw and try to sit on top of the blue shot stone. I think if you do that, you are second shot. Maybe you can use it as a setup shot to scoring one, but I think Team Laycock will be pretty happy even giving up one at this point. This end has not shaped up well here after that missed peel. Sweepers haven't really touched the stone. That means it might be just a little bit wider, a little heavy. It does stop on top of the blue stone. Thanks very much, Curling Stadium crew, for this close-up shot. It is very close. Whose second shot, whether that stone thrown by Steve Laycock is closer. I think for Team Epping, they can see almost all of that red stone. That means they can get to the inside of it and push that redstone back a little bit and sit 2 again. Maybe they could even sit 3 again after this situation. Even if they don't move anything and sit right on top, they'll have a really good chance to steal this end and take the lead for the first time. John Epping, last stone of the 7th end. They've put a ton of pressure on Team Laycock this end. Down 3-0 after 4. They've clawed their way back. Well, this rock over curls. I'm not sure if it picked or not. But that rock doesn't do a whole lot. Well, Team Laycock is having a look. See if you can get those blue rocks out. And maybe score 1, maybe even score 2. There is a blue catcher. That right side, fighting the 8-foot. If you hit the red on the right-hand side, that broom side, the shooter's going to catch on the blue on the other side. So the question is, will those blue stones on the button in the back 4, will they spill out and leave you sitting 1, sitting 2, maybe even sitting 3? Final stone, Steve Laycock, 7th end. Throwing some weight. It doesn't look like he's thrown it online. He's flashed everything. Just not well thrown. Never gave it a chance. And they're going to have a closer look here. 1 for blue for sure. Team Epping's going to go to the last end with the lead. And Steve Laycock will have hammer going to the 8th end. We'll wait for the official score to go up, but Team Epping with the lead going into the last end. Well, we're back here in Martensville Curling Stadium. You can see on the scoreboard it was 1 for Team Epping in the 7th end. They're going to take the lead for the first time in this game, 4-3, after trailing 3-0. Halfway through the game, they've clawed their way back. It's been a tale of two halves so far, and we're going to have a great finish. Of course, extra ends if we need it. That'd be bonus curling. No one will complain about that. Maybe except for the crew, who will have to work overtime. Make sure we have the donuts and coffee for them. Corner guard for Steve Laycock, trying to score multiples to win this game. John Epping threw the first one into the rings. I think they're going to throw the second one into the top of the rings as well. Probably wanted those closer to the center line. If you're just joining in, this is Curling Stadium, Martensville. We're watching the feature draw, the men's draw, but there's the women's draw as well. They're playing alongside on the other sheets. My name is Jason Chang, bringing you the action from the ice to your device, and of course all the images, the close-ups, the audio brought to you by Curling Stadium. Four 3 Team Epping leads in the 8th end now. This is the last end, unless we need to go extras. Team Laycock, they're angling to score 2 here to win the game outright in 8. The Hammer team in extra ends has a huge advantage. They win at this level of curling 90-95% of the time. So Steve Laycock, they're going to go all out. Team Epping, they can, of course, steal the win here, but they'd be happy with a force as well and take Hammer into the extra end.
Get it right there. This becomes a really good angle. If we rub off, this is okay too. Line's good. Line's good. Take a look. Looks really heavy. I think it's really heavy. It'll really weight. Take the balance here. Take the balance here. Yeah, that's pretty good. 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 It's a real good spot.
Well, Steve Laycock jiggles the rocks in the house a little bit, but I think Team Epping probably has enough room to squeeze that red stone straight through the port and play quiet weight at it. That's the other way to do it. Just play the raised takeout with your blue stone. That's option 1, the tap back.
You like that? Back line.
I think they've decided on the quiet tap.
Whoa!
Rocks coming down. Both sweepers working it. That means the line's pretty good. They're controlling the curl. Carved side, straight side. Nice weight. Taps it through the port right out. That's even better. Blue sitting first and second shot stone on the 4-foot. The red is the third shot on the back of the 8. But a double might be available for Team Laycock. The blue on the left onto the blue shot stone. That's in the 4-foot on the right-hand side.
Hit it really full. You're actually bouncing off of it a little bit. So I take like control or a 9, whichever. Which one? Yeah, I like 9. Okay. Pretty straight here, eh?
As they're talking this over, give you a quick update. Mike McEwen up 5-2 after 6 over Cody Hartung with last stone. And then on the ladies' side of the draw, Unji Gim, they're also up 5-2 over Nancy Martin. Martin with last stone in the 7th. And Clancy Grandy, Ashley Howard tied at 4. Team Grandy with the hammer in the 7th end. There's the hit. There's the rollover. Really good result. Rolls it into a corner guard or a corner frozen situation.
You like control?
I think Team Epping can make a raised takeout using their own blue stone that's in the top of the 8-foot. Blue onto red. Squeeze that red stone out. Have to be careful though. Team Laycock does have 2 red stones in the rings right now. If they can score both of them, they'll win the game. So positioning and accuracy, very important here through this middle of the lineup. Matt Cam throwing his first stone of this end, the last end of the game. Blue onto red. Everything sticks around.
Probably just bump it back a little. You want to look at it or no? Okay. In a perfect world, you're hitting like 1 inch to 2 inches of it.
Another chance for Team Laycock to make a hit and roll or a double on these blue stones. Nicely done. Makes the double. Stays right on top of the blue shot stone, and all of a sudden, Team Laycock might be setting up for their 2. But it is still Team Epping with shot stone. So now Team Epping changing gears. They're going to start protecting that shot stone now. That's the one that could win them the game right here with a steal. They wanted to loop that, I think, around the guard and be corner frozen onto the red, but that chips off.
Yeah, you're basically playing that same shot I did, right? When we have, like, there and I was only key line, so like maybe there back 12. Okay, it's a little different spot I think we're playing in, isn't it? For no save.
First instinct might be to play a hit on that blue stone, but the other way to do it is to play a freeze or just a small tap. leave those blue stones at the back of the rings. Stuff that could act as backing or jam possibilities if Team Epping tries to move your red stones.
Hey, line's good. Whoa, patient. Curl like it's heavy. Never really curl. Yeah, we got that. Okay, good stretch.
They do move it back. Rolls all the way out. They wanted to hit that much more on the nose, maybe even get it on the inside, I think, to sit in front of the red stone. The good news for Team Laycock is they did manage to move that blue stone back far enough such that they're sitting second and third. So Team Epping does have to worry about that. And that's why they're electing to come in again, try to be top 8, half around that guard, maybe corner frozen on that red stone that's in the top of the 4, just fighting the top of the 4 behind the guard. They really want to outcount the third shot stone, that red stone at the back 8 here.
Easy now, easy right now. Where is it? Top four is too deep on this line. We need fighting stuff. Just 8 foot. Just 8 foot. Okay. I can go here too. Yeah, just block it. Yep. Hard. Shot.
Nice weight, nice line.
Just make it quiet, like even where it's like a hit roll to here or skinny or as you
I
get
think
it.
that's pretty much where John Epping wanted it.
This one? Just this is going to be pretty short.
I like that play, Steve, because if you hit this, it's stopping right here. Yeah, he's gonna play that. Ours is going back there. He has a little bit blue.
Especially like deep shooter.
Team Laycock is talking this one over. One option is to play the run back, the blue onto the blue guard onto the blue rock that John just threw. Get rid of those 2 blues. Your shooter will probably stay as a guard, but that gives you something to run in on your last stone. If you leave it like that, you can go red, blue onto the last stone and win the game. I'm not sure if you can play quite enough to make a direct play onto the red and do red-blue right now. You do see a piece, but can you be quite enough to make the red-blue right now in 6-shot stone? That's another option. I think Steve also had a look at that corner guard and making it in-off and it redirect off of his red corner guard into the middle. I think you would leave that for your last stone. That's kind of your last stone. If you've got a chance to win the game, that might be there and left there for that purpose. Probably wouldn't play it now, because if you play it now, you might not have a whole lot for your last stone if you don't make it. I think they've decided to go make a play on their own red stones, hit what they can see, move that blue stone back or even out of play, you want to roll the shooter away as well. You don't want to leave the shooter with a half roll to the 8-foot because that'll give John Epping an in-off double. So you do want to roll the shooter away, I think. Steve removes the guard. I think he was trying to play red-blue, but maybe a bit tight. Possibly thinking about the last stone he threw in the 7th then when he whiffed at everything. It was the same turn. Down a similar spot of the ice, actually. Just the opposite side, going away from the glass. Well, you can put up the guard again. If you threw the guard, Steve would have that in-off off of the red stone, the red corner guard. It's a really tough in-off. That angle is not the best. But it is there for 2, or Steve might decide to draw the button for 1. The other option is to try to make life more difficult for Steve by playing a rock where they've got their broom right now. Just nibbling the top of the 4. That takes away the draw. They'll also take away that in-off, and there probably won't be a shot for 2. I think most recreational curlers, they'd be playing up a guard here, but they know that at this level of play, that in-off is very makeable. It's tough, but it's makeable. And so they're looking at options. They're looking at a way to make sure they don't give Laycock a chance for 2. Final stone, John Epping. He's got a 4-3 lead, clawed his way back from a 3-0 deficit. Now trying to go top of the 4. Try to take away as many shots as he can. He does slip a little bit too deep, I think. Yep, slips to the back of the 4. They're having a closer look here to see who's second shot, because if Laycock is second shot, they might decide to take on a shot for 2. But if John is sitting first and second, you'll probably see Steve Laycock drawing for 1. I think the red from this angle might be closer, but you still have to be confident with the shot for 2. There's no easy shot for 2 right now. Well, I think they're pretty convinced they are second shot, and they're mulling this in off over. It's a tough shot for 2, but they know that if they only take 1, Team Epping at this level of curling probably wins 90% of the time, tied with Hammer in the extra end. That's why you take on a lot of difficult shots in the 8th end to try to win it outright. Here we go, final stone of the match. 8th end. Steve Laycock looking for a in-off for 2. It goes right by. And it will be Team Epping with a steal of 1 more in the 8th end. They take it 5-3. Well, what a game, a tale of 2 halves. Steve Laycock, their team really put the pressure on Team Epping. Got a steal of 1 in the first, steal of 2 in the third to go up 3-0 halfway through. But then Team Epping, they stuck with it. They clawed back. They figured out the ice. Got a couple of misses from Team Laycock. Finally got the lead in the 7th end with a steal of 1 and a steal of 1 more in the 8th end. They take it 5-3, opening the Curling Stadium Martensville with a victory. Of course, Team Laycock then dropping to 0-1 to start the tournament. It is a 5-game preliminary round into the quarterfinals. Well, thank you for joining us on our opening broadcast this weekend. Curling Stadium, Martensville. We've got another draw tonight. It's 8:30 Saskatchewan time. It's 10:30 Eastern time, and we'll be here all weekend right through Labor Day. 4 draws on Friday, 4 on Saturday, another 4 on Sunday, and then the championship playoff Monday. So on behalf of the entire Curling Stadium crew, Rory, James, Jerry in the back, my name is Jason Chang. Join us again in an hour and a bit. We'll bring you more action from Martensville.
Well, just that one side. That was the whole game. Yeah. So, that was. Well, you look at the box of the ice. Yes.